Hey everybody, how you doing? This is Christian Yetke here with Traditional Masculinity and the Ways of the Bible, not man. And this is the last one that of this course of this series of all this stuff that I've been working on for the past 2 years plus of trying to bring together and just all these thoughts and ideas and things that God's shown me that I've just been thinking on and trying to figure out how to put this together in ways that helped me understand and grow and how it can, I'm hoping that it is able to help you learn and grow and ask those questions that maybe you haven't or something along those lines. So this is the last one, and then I'll figure something out for next time. But anyway, so I just wanted to come at you guys here with this last part of episode 10 of 10, and well, let's just jump right into it and see how this goes. So, part four. I am on this, oh, not doing that yet. So I have this idea of a very, very simple thing. What kind of man do you want to be? And I'm going over just at least some of the things that I've thought about and been wondering on when it comes to about being a man or to what that entails and to what the world's telling us a man is these days, which they can't even technically di differentiate the difference between a man and a woman. So they don't even know if they are a man right now. And we're very lost in that area. And it's very heartbreaking just to see that kind of stuff because I know what it's like to be lost and not have that identity and to not even have that identity in whether you're a man or what kind of man or the fact that it's okay to be a man, and the world's telling us like it's not okay and that men are bad and masculinity is horrible and evil and wrong and all these lies. And it's so easy to get lost in all the lies that you start to believe them. You hear so much of them that if you hear a lie long enough, it sounds like the truth. So I want to go through some things. So I have this idea that there's five different types of men, and it's not that like necessarily one is better than the other, but we'll I guess we'll get into that here in a second. And and these are just like again my thoughts on this right now. So it, at first we're all boy, right? We're a young kid, we're a child, we're an infant, we're a teenager. We eventually grow up into being a man, and but we still hit the stage of being a boy, as in a boy in the sense that we are young, we're immature, we are dumb, we don't understand anything, we don't know anything. Now, some take this literally and they will go to the extent that they will be 30, 40, 50 years old and they will still act immature. They will still act like a child. They will still act stupid and not care. And so when you're an actual child, then yeah, that's one thing. We're all going to be a child. We're all going to, and that's the whole point of starting to learn how to grow up is that we do dumb things to find out how dumb they are. So then we stop doing them. At least that's the hope behind it. So as we all start off as a kid, we all start off as a little boy, and we're trying to grow up, and we're wanting to grow up. So you have to actually want that. Otherwise, there are plenty of people in this world who are can be 30, 40, 50 years old, and they will still act like a child, and they'll still mentally be there just because they're immature and they don't want to take on things like responsibility or the things that it actually takes for a boy to become a man and to grow up and to become someone much more than themselves. So now we have what the world calls a man, as in, hey, you hit the age of 18 years old, you're a man, that's all that matters. They're not saying, what you do, your character, your maturity level, your competency, your capability. We're not saying any of that stuff anymore. And we're not holding people to a standard of what it means to be a man because back around World War II, I think it was around early World War II, if memory serves, is whenever we started incorporating this teenager phrase of you're a boy and a man. It was one or the other. Now it's boy, teenager, man. And it wasn't always like that. It's only been like that for a few scores now. So so we've had to be putting in this whole new extra area, this whole new terminology of separating boyhood from manhood. And now we're saying, all right, you can say at this point for X amount of years, your teens, and that's a different stage. And then now that you hit 18, we're just saying, hey, once you hit the age of 18, that's all that matters. You can leave home, you can sign these papers, you know, it's like you can't drink yet, but you can go into the military, you can go sign your life away and sign contracts, and you can go do this, that, and the other, just at a simple age of 18. Not, are you capable of this? Are you mentally competent in that area? Do you have that understanding of this thing? And so the world says what a man is, and that is when you're 18 and above, you're a man. And that doesn't, and that's a lie because it's to be a man, a proper right man, righteous man, a good man, you have to actually be able to do the things of being genuine, being real, being honest, being helpful, being capable of doing certain stuff. So whenever you're 18 and you're lost and you're like, I have all these things that are expected of me, but I don't know how to do them. So many don't. And it's okay that you don't, because if you weren't taught something, then of course you're not going to know how to do it. So that's why we're taking these steps. We're getting in these groups. We're finding those mentors. We're finding those guys who are willing to teach us and to train us and to help us. And there's so much online, of all the things on social media and on, all these technological advancements that we have YouTube, we have Google. You can get on and find people and things and go over these ideas of what can I do? What should I be doing? Like there's something missing in my life and who I think and believe I am. What is that? And then that's finding out what your place is and that relationship with God and all that stuff. So a man is not just someone who's 18 and above. That's what the world says it is, but it's much more deeper than that. Now, I have this red line here because there's the red line and there's what's going to be above it that we'll get into in a minute and what's below it. So I have this line between the third type, and that is going to be a born again man, born again believer. You've accepted Christ. I was raised in the church my entire life, so I knew God. I did all the things, went to the church, did blah, 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 blah. So I went there and I was a part of it all. Now, even though I was raised in the church my entire life and did everything every week, all the time with people, blah, 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 I didn't have that relationship with him. I didn't actually accept him as my savior. I didn't actually do any of that stuff properly or in a real way or an authentic way. I just was like, okay, friends are over there doing that. I'll do it. Parents said to go over here and do this. I'll do it. But, they say there's this guy named God and, you know, okay, cool. But I didn't actually spend that time with him and get to know him and develop that relationship. So if you don't have that relationship, if you aren't born again, if you aren't saved, then there's that journey of actually getting on that and actually becoming that. And I spent many, many months in particular of a transition phase of getting out of the military, of trying to get back into civilian life, and then trying to like find my place. And a part of that was also trying to find God. And so I was playing and juggling all these things for many, many months. And, I didn't really get anywhere, but I was at church and I was reading and I was praying and I was trying to incorporate these things and trying to change my life. And again, it took a very long time. And there wasn't like a, hey, it takes X amount of time. It was, hey, this X thing has to happen. Like this change in your heart has to happen. This whatever the event is for you that needs to happen for you to be able to have that, changing of your heart. We talked a long time ago about metanoia, changing your heart and now actuality. So, anyways, being a born again man, and that means that you're a spiritual baby. Like I'm still a spiritual baby because I'm only a little over 2 years into actually being saved and actually reading and studying and trying to learn. And it's something that will never be done learning. We'll never stop learning about the Bible. It's all there's always something new in it. There's always something to see in a different way. There's always someone else's perspective and understanding. And that's not even including getting into to to the Greek or Hebrew or getting back into any of that stuff. But you're at this point that if you're wanting to become something more than who you are or what you think you are, the world's version of a man, and you're like, I want to become something better, and you're wanting to get that time with God, and you're like, okay, this is that area. I want to actually be, you know, uh, there for God. I actually want to be that man for God. And it's like, what does that look like? So if you are willing to hit this stage, whenever you do hit this stage, and I hope and pray that every single one of you gets to this stage, and then now if you do, you're going to go one of two ways. Because because during this time is when the enemy is going to be very, very upset. Because if you're actually willing to accept Christ and wanting to go down the positive good route, then he's going to come after you. Like he hasn't messed with you, even though your life's been phenomenally great or horribly bad, whatever your life has been, the enemy will come after you because he doesn't want you turning to God. That's his sole purpose and mission in life is that he is trying to keep us from having that relationship with God and believing in Christ and being set free and all the stuff. Not that it makes life easier because it actually makes life a lot harder in this world in many areas. As the Bible tells us, our life will be harder, the world will be against us, and it will hate us and all that stuff. But either when this event happens and you are willing to go through that journey and accept Christ as your savior. So you're either gonna get attacked and time's gonna go on and events are gonna happen and you're gonna be and your newfound faith is already gonna be tested day one, and you're gonna be going through those trials and tribulations that life already gives you all the time. But now you're going to be going through very specific spiritual ones as well. And that's going to be the enemy coming after you. And he's going to be testing you and trying to get you to go back to your old ways to make you believe that God and Jesus and all that is all fake and crap and it's all voodoo, blah, blah, blah. He's going to try and do that. And he's going to come at you in any way, in every way he can. And he knows you better than you know yourself, probably at this point. He's like, I know their weaknesses. I know their fleshly desires. All I have to do is go in there and mess with them, go send in those couple of girls to distract them, go tell them those couple of lies that they already have these self-doubts about and make them not believe in it and blah, blah, blah. Like he's going to get in there. He's going to come after you hard. He doesn't want you coming to God. So you're either going to go make the decision, get saved, hallelujah, and you're either gonna go through the getting like hit on you're just gonna get attacked and it's gonna suck and it's gonna hurt and you're just gonna go through a lot of crap and you're either gonna be like, all right, you know what, screw it, never mind, I was right. If God was here and I went through all this work and and he wanted me to be a part of him, he wouldn't allow all this stuff to go on. So I was wrong. I'm going back to the way I was. So you're gonna go back, below this line to what a man is. The world calls a man. Or you're going to be so set and you're gonna be like, you know what? No, no, no. I know this is true. I believe in God. I felt his peace. He took and broke all the chains that were weighing me down, et cetera, et cetera. No, I'm going to stick this out. I'm going to keep going through it. I'm going to carry my cross. And then that's when you're like, okay, now you're willing to go into that next phase, that next area. And I believe that's this other type of being a man of God. And that is someone those are the ones who, in particular, like those guys who are so devoted to the word and to God, and they study and learn the Bible. And that doesn't mean that just because that if you're a man of God, that means that you're going to be a preacher or something. Like that doesn't mean that you're going to be in church all day, every day, and do nothing else in life and have no fun or something like that. That's not what it means to be a man of God or being a preacher or anything. But being that man of God is someone who's going to go, you know what? I know what this truth is. I believe in it with my whole heart. I know it like I know what it is to be like, or what it's like to be with Christ and without him. And like I don't want to go without him again. I want to study the Bible. I want to actually understand the scriptures. I'm wanting to tell other people about it. I'm wanting to make this the center of my life. I'm wanting to do everything for God. They're really wanting to do that. And so that's what I believe is like a man of God. And this other one is this other type is called like warrior of Christ. And I don't put these in an order of saying that, four, type 4 or 5 is better, is one is better than the other. It's more of the rarity, is how I'm looking at this, is more of the rarity because, there's kids who are young, immature, all over the world. Then there's guys who believe that think they're a man, but they're not. They're just like 18 and above, and they think they're a man, but they're not. And just because they get laid all the time doesn't make them a man. Just because they have a lot of money doesn't mean that they're a man. Just because they have a lot of power or pride or arrogance doesn't mean that they're a man in a true sense. It's what the world calls a man. And if that's what matters to you, then by all means do what you think is best. But if you're actually wanting to find out what the truest version of you is in man, being a man sense, then discover on who you are and what that is. So above this line, we're above the red line. And I'm viewing this is, and again, I'm not saying that being a warrior of Christ, and this is like a quest that I'm on, that this is a type of person. This is like a community that I'm working on building, someone who, people who are willing to, even more than just being a man of God, that they are willing to be those men on the front line, right? I do this in a militaristic uh, sense and mindset is is that there's so very few that are willing to be a warrior of Christ. Because in Matthew 22:14, it says like for many are called, but few are chosen. And I believe and my personal belief is that we're all called. That's why we're all existing. That's why we're all alive, is that God called all of us, but not that many are willing to answer the call. Not many are willing to say, yeah, I'm willing to go be hated by the world and mocked and hated and beat up and screwed over and lied to and cheated on. Like it's like, and I don't want to be attacked all the time and told, oh, hey, Jesus freak, It's like I don't want to be called names. I don't want a hard life. No one wants that. I don't want it. No one wants it. But it's what you're willing to do for what you believe in. So it's that suffering and pain and attack you're willing to go through for Christ, for the fact that he died for you and you and me and all of us. And it's like, if he was able to do this, then why can't I just be willing to go through this little thing? I should be able to do that. So my mindset, my thought process behind this is that there are so very few who would be willing to be a warrior of Christ. And again, I'm not saying that this is doctrine or anything. This is just my personal belief and something that God's put on my mind that I'm still searching out after over 2 years of working on it and trying to understand what it means. This is where I'm at, which is why I'm bringing it to you guys. It's been 2 years. Let's bring out some ideas. Let's just go with it. I just see where it goes. So again, not saying I'm perfect, not even saying I'm right, just saying what my thought process is. But being the warrior of Christ is someone is just so willing to go to that nth degree of sacrificing their flesh, of carrying their cross, of being capable and willing to go down those hard paths, of being willing to walk the walk, of being willing to endure all that pain and suffering, not because it's, trying to be a masochist or anything and saying, all right, you should always be in pain. But what are you capable of being able to go through? What are you willing to go through? And I also look at this in the sense of a 1%, which is honestly a very high number in this instance, because I'm thinking of it in the military, right? In the military here, just in America, less than 1%. It was actually, I think it's supposed to be about less than 0.5% of the entire US population is in the military. All branches of the military make up, I believe it's just under 0.5%. That's everyone of all branches. That's everyone who does admin, supply, infantry, you know, uh, people who are on boats and planes, on the ground and everywhere. All of everything is a fraction, is less than 0.5%. And that's kind of, again, in my thought process, is kind of those who are the who are going to be the men of God in a way. Again, this is just how I'm thinking of it and how I'm interpreting it in my mind. And then those who are going to be a warrior of Christ, those are good. Those are like the special operators in each and every branch. Every branch has a different type of special operator. MARSOC in the Marine Corps, Navy SEALs in the Navy. You got Green Berets. You are Rangers. You got all these different types of special operators, and there's honestly only a handful of them throughout each branch of their own branch, right? For SEALs, like there's only a handful of SEALs throughout the entire Navy. So the entire military is already taken up a fraction of a percent. And then the special operators who are willing to go to the nth degree, they are willing to sharpen their blade so that the tip of their sword is as sharp as or the edge of their sword is as sharp as the tip of their tongue, so that they know that the word, they study the word. But they also train for the fight, whether it's a physical actual fight and they're physically capable, mentally capable, or it's a spiritual fight and they know the word so that they can fight against the enemy when he comes, because he's going to use the scripture and he's going to use lies and he's also going to use truths, but he's going to do it in a deceptive way, and that's going to trip people up all the time. So it's being able to know how to do things in the body, mind, and spirit. The spirit, your soul, who you are, that connection with God, that thing he gave you, who you are. Can you even say no to your flesh? Like, are you ready? So again, I'm thinking of it in this way. And again, it's not to say that warriors of Christ are perfect, or everyone should strive to be that necessarily, because it's 1% for a reason. And that 1% is actually less than a 0.001%, probably because it's only such a small fraction. But it's not even talking about numbers. The numbers are just an analogy. The idea is just, what are you willing to do? Like, how far are you willing to go? What are you willing to give up? What are you willing to sacrifice? What type of man do you want to be? Do you want to be something that the world says is a man, and then they say, all right, cool. That's all you need is an age. Like, you just have to exist for 18 years and now you're everything you need to be. Or do you want to apply yourself? Do you actually want to go through these processes of self-discovery, of growth, of overcoming yourself, etc.? So again, not saying this is doctrine, not even saying this is right. I'm just saying here's what I've been working on for over 2 years, and that's what I think and believe. So, like we started this off with, to be a man, a man, a real man, to be a traditional man, masculine man, godly man, warrior of Christ, whatever you want to be, however, whatever degree you want to go to or work towards, and however that looks for you. Again, it's going to look different for everyone, honestly. But no matter what you do and who you are, you should be giving 100%. At all times, always give 100% of who you are. So even though today I'm feeling amazing and I'm at the top of my game, I got all the sleep, I got all the food, I got all the energy, I crush a workout, I'm at my absolute top of everything and I'm at 100%. Well, tomorrow, best friend could get in an accident and die. Wife could leave you. You guys could just get into a fight. You know, you dog could die. You could get fired from your job. The enemy could come after you and cause a bunch of lies. Anything can happen. And things happen every day. So when you're just not that 100% for whatever reason, are you willing to give 100% of whatever you have left? Maybe you're only 80%, maybe you're 50%, maybe you're only 10% of what you should be. Maybe you should be up here, but maybe this is one of those days and you're just down here. Can you give that 100% of that 10%? Can you give all of whatever little bit you are? Give your all at all times. That's what I'm wanting to talk about here. Is just give it your all, whatever you can. Put your everything in. Don't let the lies win. Don't let the enemy win. Don't let them distract you. Don't let them get in the way of your progress, of you overcoming whatever that thing is that you're trying to overcome. In Ecclesiastes 9, it talks about like whatever your hands find to do it with your might. So whatever you do it. Put in the time, put in the effort, actually commit to it, right? Just commit to the thing that you are wanting to do, that you are trying to do. Don't just be there and say, oh, well, I was here, so, and then whatever thing didn't work out, so it doesn't work. It's no, if you're going to be there, show up, do the thing, actually put in the effort. And the only thing that can happen is something good from you actually trying. It might be a teeny tiny little bit. It might be a big thing, but it's gonna take all of you to do it. So you have to put in your all. And you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind and with all your strength. So he says to give our all, do it to the best of our ability. And guess what? We're still going to come up short. No matter if we were trying to be perfect, we never would be. If we gave in our all, it would still be less than the glory of God and what he deserves. So no matter what our all is, it's never going to be perfect, but he wants us to try. He wants us to try for us. Like, just think of this in a very simplistic way. If you, whoever you like or love or want to spend time with, whether you're hanging out with one of your buddies, whether you're hanging out with your girl or something like that, would you actually want them to put in some effort to spend time with you? You guys hang out, do your thing, whether you go out for a hike or, you're just going to watch a movie or you're going to do something that you like to do together and whatever that looks like. Would you actually like that they put in some effort to spend time with you? Or is it just they only or if only if you're the only one who's always putting in any time and effort to spend time with them, but they didn't put any time and effort to spend with you, whether it's making plans or something, I don't know. But would it feel the same? Would you like that feeling of the fact that you are the one having to do it all and they just and you guys get to hang out, you get to have fun, but they never try, they never put in any effort. I'm just trying to get that very basic thought out. Put in some effort, put in as much effort as you can, put in your all, and great things will come of it. Just eventually, at some point in time, they will. So again, we don't do things in the short term gratification based. We do things consistently based on and consistently doing the thing that is right and good, and eventually that will build in a compound interest based stuff, and something great will happen in the end. At some point in time, good will come from doing good. So being all you, putting in your 100%, it is just put in your all because every day is going to be different. Every day is going to have a new challenge, it's going to have a new obstacle, and you can't compare, who you were at your absolute best versus, today's you. You might just be at that 10% today. You might just be at 50%. You're like, man, I was at this yesterday and I'm here now. It's like, well, if I can't be like that all the time, then why should I do anything? And it's like, well, guess what? Tomorrow you could probably be even twice as good as what you were yesterday, but today you're in the slump. Whatever the case is, life's gonna come at you, but put in your effort, put in your all. Focus on what is right in front of you. Okay. Just don't look at a year, at a month, at a week, at tomorrow. Focus on today, focus on here, focus on now. What can I do in the here and now that will help me with the rest of today? That can build things up for tomorrow. Deal with tomorrow when it gets here. Focus on the here and now and today. Just right now. What can I do to help and build me and work on me and to grow? And then when tomorrow comes, then you can deal with tomorrow and just take it one day at a time. Focus on it in one aspect, in one day, one situation at a time. And then you can build and grow from there. And then you can apply those and just keep building. Okay, well, now I can do this. And that can take off that stuff I have to do for next week. And if I do these things now, then in a year time, all this other stuff could happen. So then it could be even better than it is now. And I talked about this before in a previous video, but you do the thing before you get a title. If you are just focusing on getting a title or just achieving that thing that you're working towards or anything of the sort, if you are only working on trying to whatever it is, overcome or get to a certain place, but then you stop putting in the effort to maintain and to keep growing and doing more, then you're going to eventually lose that title or that thing that obstacle you're trying to fight to overcome. It's going to come back and overtake you if you don't keep trying, if you don't keep pushing yourself and you keep getting a little bit better and a little bit better. Because a title, a way of life, it's not something that you just achieve and say, all right, I'm a manager now. Okay, cool. Now I don't have to actually work anymore. I don't have to actually put in any effort. I don't have to do this. I don't have to do that. It's like I can chill more. I can come in late. I can come, I can leave early. I can do all these things. It's not about just hitting a title. It's not about just reaching a goal. It's about making these aspects, discipline, consistency, delayed gratification, etc. It's about making these ways of life, these, building yourself up, which takes time and you're going to do it for the rest of your life. But it becomes a lifestyle. You have to change your lifestyle as a whole. If you want to become healthy, you gotta diet and exercise, and that has to become a part of your lifestyle. You find a healthy version to do it. You want to have a good lifestyle in a spiritual sense, then you got to spend that time with God. You got to do those things that get you closer to God and working on it. If you just want to become better for your job, you got to learn those things about the job and grow and become better and learn more. And you have to keep applying those things, and that has to become a new adopted lifestyle. Pretty sure I got my point across there. So, another type of book that's great to read is Atomic Habits. Uh, but in there, he has this saying of, habits are the compound interest of self-improvement. Talks about compound interest. So if you can get like 1% better, right? 1%, just focus on this absolute smallest thing, just something, 1%. If you can get 1% better each day for a year, you'll end up 37 times better by the time you're done. Now, the whole mathematical calculation, that's beyond me. That's above my pay grade right now. I need a calculator, and then I need someone to show me how to work that calculator to try and figure this out. Point being, he does all this stuff, and he's like, if you just work and just put in a little bit of effort, and you just get 1% better, and then you can apply that 1%, and then you get 1% better on top of that, and it keeps growing. And we looked at this just last week. We looked at this whenever we were looking at the diagram of, you know, of getting a doubling a penny every day for 27 days. It was below $1 million, but the last 3 days it was just astronomical. It was way more than the $1 million you could have had. And that was only in the last 3 days. Not 3 days, but the last three. So you had to put in a lot of time and effort in the beginning. And that's if it's only 1%. And that's only in 1 year, but you're going to do this for the rest of your life. And as you come and learn more new things, you can apply more new things in your life and others' lives, and you guys can grow together. So just apply this 1% in some area of your life, any area. 1%. Just if you can just improve yourself by 1%. That can be, hey, I woke up when I said I was going to wake up. I went to bed when I said I was going to go to bed. I got the amount of sleep I said I was going to get. I actually went for that run. I actually went to the gym. I actually sat down and read the Bible. I read that chapter. I read that verse. I read that verse, one little verse. Just read one verse. You don't have to sit there and say, I have to do everything. I'm so guilty of this right now myself. Like so hardcore. I'm so guilty of trying to like I can't get myself to do one little thing. I'm like, I need to do more. I'm looking at doing 10 big things that people spend their entire lives dedicated to working on and learning one thing and becoming better in that one area. And I'm trying to do like 10 different things all at once at the same time. And so so this is a thing for me right now in itself is I can't calm myself down to be pulled back and to go, let me just put in a little bit. I'm like, nope, I'm putting in everything. I'm like, do I have time to do this? All right, cool. I'm gonna go read that book. Okay, well, I'm driving to the gym. Well, guess what? During that time, I can listen to music or I can listen to the podcast. I might as well listen to the podcast. I'm just walking and warming up. I'm just going for a walk outside. Great. I can listen to music or I can listen to an audiobook. So it's like finding those areas, and I do this so intensely. I'm like, what area can I be bettering and and working on improving? But no matter what, no matter how small it is, if you just work on one thing, and again, it's not like I started doing it how I do it now. I started with one thing. I started with going to the gym. And then eventually I started doing more in the gym. And then I started to learn about diet. And then I started to learn about, you know, other aspects of those areas. And then I learn about God, and then I read more about the Bible, and then I start to meditate, and I start to journal, and I start to pray at different areas instead of just praying. Then I pray for food. Then I pray before before eating, before a workout. before, going on a road trip, before doing something, then I just pray more often. And it always builds and grows on itself. Uh, and it's a fascinating thing. And you have no idea what would happen in 3 months, 6 months, a year of you just dedicating 1% growth every day. Just every day, just 1%, one thing that you can be doing to better your life, to better your day, to better who you are as a person, physically, mentally, spiritually. Take your pick. You can do one of them. Just do something. But if you do that one thing, then there's a guaranteed 100% chance that you will eventually in the future. Again, it took 27 days and not much happened. But 28, 29, 30, those last couple days, a lot changed. So eventually, at some point in time, things will change for the dramatically huge amount in your life. It can absolutely change. It could happen on the first day, it could happen on the thousandth, but it eventually will take time and you can build and grow this. And the thing is that it's awesome because you're the one who's in charge of this. You can choose to be sitting on your phone death scrolling. You can be the one choosing to sit there and watch porn all day. You can be the one to choose to go eat that fattening, fast food, sugary, crap. You can go drink alcohol. You can make those intentional choices and do the wrong thing, do the bad thing, do the unhealthy thing. Or you can intentionally make those choices and decisions in everyday life and say, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to go out anymore. I'm not going to drink anymore. I'm not going to eat there. I'm going to eat at home now. And I'm going to eat this thing. I'm going to actually eat that salmon. I'm going to eat those greens. I'm going to have fruit instead of ice cream. I'm going to just apply those things and you have no idea the degree of impact that it can make on your life. It's amazing. So my last thing here, what will be your 1% today? What are you willing to do? What are you willing to sacrifice? What are you willing to do to become the best you that you can be physically, mentally, and spiritually? Are you willing to sacrifice yourself for? Two, because of, what are you willing to become the best version of yourself for? That's got to be something bigger than you. No one wants to do anything for themselves. So are you willing to do it for a greater, bigger thing than just me? Just who am I? No, I want to do this thing for this what fill in the blank. Something else, someone else, a belief, a thought, a hope, a want. What are you willing to do? Just put in 1% every day. That's it. Just something. And then build on it, work on it. And you're not going to see progress probably for days and weeks and months, but eventually you will. So guys, that's it. That's what I wanted to leave you off on today was this thought process. I had this idea of what different types of men there are on this belief that you can find out who you are. You really can. It takes time and there's a lot of annoying crap and a lot of pain that might be involved, but you can find out who you are and you can find out how to be your best self and you can grow and it's all in your hands. All of it is in your hands. Not your mama's, not your daddy's, not your siblings, not your neighbors, not your parents, friends, not social media, not Hollywood, not your neighbors, not your dog. You. And you can find out who you want to be. You can become anyone that you want to be. It doesn't matter where you're at in life. You can become anyone. You just need to apply yourself. And it's hard, but it is more worth it than it is hard. And it becomes a part of who you are. And you will never go back and be regretful on applying yourself and pushing yourself and challenging yourself to become better. Just today, what did I do? What could I do that can get me to be better? Just today, just what can I do today? Don't think of the future. Don't even think about tomorrow. What can I do today? It's just as simple as that. Well, guys, I appreciate your time. I thank you for being able to be here and watching and listening. And I hope this was able to help someone else out. I know that this is stuff that I had to apply for myself and figure out on my own through a bunch of research and trial and error and whatnot. So I hope this was able to help you as much as it was able to help me. And I do hope and pray for the absolute best for you guys. And I hope you guys are able to get to the point of finding out who you are, finding out your best version of who you are and who you could be and who you're willing to work for. I hope you're able to find that and this was able to help. So until next time, I love you guys and y'all have a very blessed day.